Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you are in this fair world of ours. I am Andrew Porter, your veteran coach with VA Claims Insider, joined by Coach Jim. Good afternoon, Jim.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome.
Absolutely. Welcome, welcome. It is the middle of the week. Almost done, folks. Almost the weekend. Ready to educate you guys on how to develop and how to submit a fully developed claim. We'll get started with that here in a few minutes. We want to give all the veterans around the world a time to get in and get settled. In the meantime, why don't you guys go ahead and right there in the chat box, go ahead and introduce yourselves. Tell us what part of the world you're in, what branch you're from, and what years you served. And if you were or are you a elite member of our elite program? A little slow in the comment section here. Oh, there we go. Hello. Good morning, Jeff. Good morning, Matthew. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We'll go ahead and get to the intros here in a few minutes. Again, we just want to give everybody a chance to get in. Coast Guard 92 to 2010, 18 years in the Coast Guard. That must have been fun. Lots of misconceptions, though. I think there are some Coast Guard bases in the not so great places, right? They're not all in like Destin, Florida and California and stuff like that. Oh man, that'd be nice though. I know there was a Coast Guard station not too far from where I grew up in Destin. Good morning, David. Morning, Matthew. Got some Army guys. Let's go. Lots of Army, Navy. Romel, Army. Hey, Jerry, elite member, Navy 98 to 05. Heck yeah. Lots of Navy vets on the seas. Man, I tell you what, Navy and Coast Guard, when you have it nice in the Navy and Coast Guard, you've got it nice, right? I had some friends stationed in a Rota Air Base. Hey, there we go. We got a Fort Bragg vet there. Airborne. Let's go, baby. Outstanding. Love it. Air Force. There we go. My dad was in the Air Force as well. All about the Army, baby. Let's go. U.S. Air Force. C5 Galaxies. Man, those C5s. Huge. What is an elite member? I'm glad you asked, Matthew. An elite member is a member of obviously a veteran client through VA Claims Insider. And with an elite contract, you not only get a coach that is specifically assigned to you, but you have access to all of our educational material, live classes, all kinds of good stuff. Lots and lots of education material, your own personal coach and assistant team. And then, again, just a ton of different resources to help you build your claims, build your fully developed claims, get discounts with independent medical opinions, DBQs, all of that good stuff that you need to build a strong case to submit a claim. And so that's what an elite member gets a little bit, just to hit on that a little bit. And we'll get more into that here in a couple more minutes. Just want to give the other veterans a chance to get in here so that we don't miss anybody and that you guys don't miss too much here. But happy Wednesday, veterans, and thank you for spending some time with us today. Again, just like everybody else, sound off in the comments. Let us know where you're from, where you're stationed, or if you're obviously most of you are out of the military by now, where you did serve. How you doing today, Coach Jimmy?
I'm doing great, doing excellent. Want to welcome everybody in. I see we got quite a few different branches in here. We have Navy, Air Force, Marine Corps. Want to welcome everyone. Looks like we got a little bit coast to coast. Probably some people joining from overseas. Really excited to have you in here today. We have a great topic, and looking forward to connecting with you and giving you some great information today on fully developed claims. All right.
Absolutely. We're going to wait about one more minute before we get started here. Again, we typically allow 5 minutes for everybody to get in, get settled so that we can go ahead and begin, introduce ourselves, and then we'll get started. Love seeing that. Shout out to Coach Chuck. All over the country. Army vets. Oh, speaking of questions, I see that, Alita. As far as questions goes, we will have a Q&A at the end of our presentation. So if you will, hold all questions till the end because we're not going to be able to really, move on with the presentation and read and answer questions at the same time and have it flow properly. So we will have Q&A at the end. And as always, if you'd like to get signed up to be an elite member, I'm sure there'll be a link that's posted here shortly. You can definitely follow that, sign up, and get yourself a coach and ask all the questions you want. There's also a free discovery call. So if you want to, kind of just call and ask a few questions, you could talk to a rep here at VACI, and they'll answer some questions and see if you want to sign up and be an elite member. There's the claim. There's the as you just saw on your screen there was the link right there.
Right there.
Right, so, it is 5 after the hour, so Jimmy and I will go ahead and get started. You want to introduce yourself, brother?
All right. I'm Coach Jim Jackson. Served in the United States Marine Corps from 94 to 98. I did this on my own in 2013. And when I found out about VA Claims Insider, I really wanted to be a part of it, right? To help other vets get the benefits that they earned and deserved. So one of the best jobs I ever had, being a veteran coach, right? Loving to help veterans, get the benefits that they earned and deserved.
Absolutely, brother. Thank you so much for your service in and out of uniform. Myself, I joined in 2004, got out in 2019. I was airborne infantry, most recently in the 82nd Airborne. I was never an elite member. I was lucky. One of the fortunate few who, as soon as I got out, I was, granted 100% permanent total. So, just all the deployments and injuries, I was, just, lucky, for lack of a better term, lucky enough that, I was able to, document things and get that stuff squared away without needing a service that is so valuable to veterans that weren't afforded that ability to get that stuff done as they were getting out. So what it means a lot to me to be here because I saw how easy I had it, and I hate seeing others, go through such an arduous process without the knowledge and the insight and the just the overall, hey, what do you need to do? Because it is a harrowing process to go through the VA claims process, and I'm just glad to be here. Obviously serving, close to 15 years in the military, serving is a big thing to me. So to continue to be able to serve alongside of guys like you, Jim, outside of uniform, it just means the world to me. And I'm so glad that you guys are all taking some time out of your day to be with us here. And we'll go ahead and get started. But first, I want to really talk to you guys about the VACI Elite program. You heard us allude to that a couple of minutes ago. First off, though, we are not accredited agents. We are not VSOs, attorneys, or any other entity recognized by the Department of Veterans Affairs, and we are not affiliated with the VA in any way. VA Claims Insider is an education-based coaching and consulting company for disabled veterans exploring eligibility for increased VA benefits, disability benefits, and who wish to learn more about that process. VA Claims Insider also connects veterans with vetted independent medical professionals in our referral network for medical examinations and independent medical opinions, or IMOs, DBQs, Nexus letters, for a wide range of disability conditions. Now, what kind of stuff do you get with your coach, Jimmy?
All right, here, what you get when you come and you join the Elite program, right? So you're going to get a custom strategy, right? Because every vet is different and unique. So your coach, you're going to get the one-on-one coaching with your coach, and they're going to form a custom strategy that's going to give you the best chance of winning when you go up against the VA. You're also going to get detailed instructions and help on claim submission, because there's several different ways when you submit your claim. And yes, we're going to cover fully developed claims here today with you. Also, you'll get the compensation CMP preparation, compensation and pension prep with your coach.
Huge, very big, biggest, most important part of the process.
Yes, you're also going to get live classes via Zoom here, right? 3 times a day. And then every morning you get to connect. We have coffee with the coaches where we have veterans all around the world who are doing the exact same thing that you're doing, right? They're going and getting the benefits that they earned and deserved, and they're using VA Claims Insider. So they come in the morning, they have coffee with the coaches where it's an open forum where you can ask questions and meet with the coaches. You're also going to get mental health exam prep, right? These are live Zoom classes, right? Where we're going to give you the pro tips to get you through those mental health exams, right? Those medical exams. We're going to cover topics like range of motion, service connection. So definitely, if you can hear my voice today, definitely check out the link here. Sign up for our elite program. If you want to learn more, schedule a free discovery call and talk to one of our team members. We're glad to help. You can go to vaclaims.help and get connected, right? If you need help, reach out to our organization at vaclaimsinsider.com. We'd love to partner with you, right, on your VA journey.
Absolutely, brother. You nailed it. I mean, being the elite program is for veterans that, really don't understand the process. They need that help. And I saw, we'll hit those answers, those questions and answers here shortly. But I saw in the comment section already, how can you help veterans communicate better? How do you help them articulate? Well, it's the education process. So if you don't really know how to talk about a certain claim or condition, that's where the coaching comes in, and just helping you understand the symptoms and, go down those lists and understanding 38 CFR and really just understanding your claim as a whole going into your C&P exam, so that you're armed with the tools and the language to use to articulate your symptoms, the duration, the frequency of your symptoms to that examiner. So it's a great program. Again, it's for those folks that really have a hard time wrapping their head around the VA process and going into those exams. So there's plenty of veterans out there that have been able to do it on their own, kind of like you, Jim. But there's lots and lots and lots of veterans that still need help. So I'm glad you're here with us today, and hopefully we can provide you with some of that education. Now, on to the subject of the day. What is a fully developed claim? An FDC, a fully developed claim, is basically determine the appropriate for the following, right? So you need service connection, right? So obviously that's the first thing you want. You want service connection. But you're not only doing fully developed claims for a service connectivity, but for an increased evaluation. So if you feel you have a condition that is service connected, but maybe you got 10% or 0, but man, my symptoms are way worse than that. They're severe, and they last a long time. So I need to prove these things. And how do I do that? So you gotta build that claim. You've got to get that medical evidence, and a claim for a P&T also. So you could be at 100%, or you could be at 90 or 70, and maybe those conditions aren't permanent in total. So you need to, basically develop that claim and submit for a permanent and total evaluation. Now, the form accepted by the VA for a fully developed claim is a VBA 21-526EZ. Now, that is also, you can do that. That's that long form if you want to print all those forms out and fill those out, or you can just do those by going to va.gov and clicking through, and that replaces that form. It's kind of the same thing. It's just the online version. So checking the box fully developed claim on that indicates what kind of claim you're filing. Now, as of March of this year, 2023, the VA's average days to complete a fully developed claim is 123 days, while non-fully developed claims can take about 132 days. However, we have seen these claims come back within a week's time, and we've seen them come back at a longer distance. So, a longer time period. So, basically, the time period doesn't matter. A lot of veterans will kind of maybe have a little anxiety about it. Well, it's taking 6 months. That's bad news. I must be denied. Or, man, it came back really fast. That must mean I'm denied. No, we've seen wins come back in 4 hours, folks. President of VACI, Terrell Merrill, he saw a claim come back in 4 hours, and it was a win. And I've seen claims come back in over a year that were wins. So I don't want you to take too much stock in that. Now, there are several factors that can impact how long it takes to do it for the VA to process your claim. Jim, you want to talk about a few of those, brother?
Sure. I'm going to jump right in. So the initial claims typically take longer, because a claims assistant at the VA, they must request your service treatment records, right? Your STRs and your personnel file. So initially it is going to take them a while to get that information. Also, a couple things that factor into the time frame is, the total number of disability conditions you filed for, right? The more conditions you file for, the longer your claim will take for a rating decision, right? So that does play a huge factor into that process. whether you filed a VA fully developed claim, FDC, or standard claim, which is a non-FDC, standard claims require further development by the Veteran Service Representative, the VSR, such as obtaining private treatment records, personal records. So if you're not giving them everything that they need up front, right, you're creating more of a time frame because they have to go out. So if you don't submit a fully developed claim and you could submit a standard claim, that's when the back and forth comes with the letters, with them reaching out, trying to get that medical evidence. So if you utilize the fully developed claim process and get them all the information that they need right there in front of them, that's going to really, really help speed up your claim.
You really nailed that, Jim. And, a lot of veterans, they get frustrated. They'll send, an email or a text message with a picture saying, hey, I got this letter in the mail. The VA says they need more from me. Well, it's pretty much a canned letter saying you have 30 days to, add more information if you want. And that's because they didn't click, or they didn't click a fully developed claim, or they hadn't sat through the class, or they just missed clicking a button. So if you know that you have all the information that you need, you've got your Nexus letter, you've got your DBQ, you've got whatever your coach or yourself has deemed necessary for this claim. If you've got it all done and squared away, make sure you click that fully developed claim box at the end near the 526 easy form. Sorry, I just wanted to jump in there and add that.
No, absolutely. Excellent point, Coach. Another thing too is when you get your coach with the elite program, right? We're gonna meet with you. We're gonna create a custom strategy, right? We're gonna educate you on your conditions, right? So you know about your conditions. We have military disabilities made easy as well. That is available to you as an elite member, where we can send you over a username and code. It breaks down the 38 CFR so you can understand it, right? So you're very well educated. When you come here, you'll get very well educated on the conditions you want to file for. Also, we can help connect you to vetted medical professionals in our referral network, right? Because some of you, I'm looking here in the chat, you've been out for quite a while, right? We might have to get that additional medical evidence, and we can help get you connected with that. The completeness of your medical evidence for VA rating purposes, right? If the medical evidence isn't clear, a VSR is required to perform, further claim development, which can delay your claim, right? How soon you can, contact and schedule for a compensation and pension exam, right? So as soon as you get your information together and when you submit your claim, right, it allows them to move on to the next step to get you scheduled for a compensation and pension exam. Also, some disability conditions require an in-person examination, whereas others can be done virtually via telehealth or via records review only. So just to touch on that, here at VACI, we're going to do the on-hand, right, prep for the CMP prep for you. Okay. So if you're having an in-person exam, you can reach out to your coach, you can schedule some time, or you can log into one of our many Zoom classes and get prepared for those exams when they come up. So there's typically 3 types of exams, right? You have your in-person exam, you have your telehealth exam, and then you have what is called an acceptable clinical evidence exam, where they review your medical information and make a decision. If your CMP exam results are adequate for rating purposes, for example, if the VA rater needs to go back to the examiner for their rationale, or if the examiner failed to complete the DBQ correctly, these things can also add more time to that claim decision. The VA claims backlog, which can affect how soon a rater gets assigned to your case. If you file a VA claim for PTSD and you do not have the evidence or information, your in-service stressor event, your claim will take longer because the VA must attempt to verify your stressor through the Joint Service Record Research Center, also known as JSRRC. So working with a coach one-on-one, we're going to make sure that you have all these bases covered, right? And that you're submitting a fully developed claim. If your claim is picked for quality review by the VA, Every veteran service representative, VSR, in rating veteran service representative, has 3 VA claims per month randomly pulled for a quality review assessment. So, every now and then that could slow up the process, right? You could just be luck of the draw. Your claim could be picked and selected for a review.
Absolutely.
If you file a fully developed claim online, which we highly recommend, the VA will follow the 8-step process to review and rate your claim. Coach Andy's going to cover some of that for you right here.
Yeah, absolutely. And I appreciate that. So just to recap real quick, I saw another question. So the average days to complete a fully developed claim is 123 days, while the non-fully developed is 132. So just to reiterate, fully developed claim, the average is 123. A non-fully developed claim is 132 days. Now, again, we just went over the factors, whether they're, and the biggest one, and you touched on it a little bit there, but it's the backlog. That is the main reason why claims are taking so long right now, because the VA is still digging out from the COVID years, right? So Coach Jim just went over all the reasons why claims are being delayed. But if you do file a fully developed claim online, again, which we highly recommend, the VA will follow an 8-step process, which is basically the claim is received. That takes 7 to 14 days. It's under review. That's 7 to 21 days. They're gathering evidence, 30 to 60 days. They review evidence, 7 to 14 days. They prep for decision, 7 to 14 days. A pending decision approval. That's just, they're waiting on an approval, another 7 to 14 days. Prep for notification, another 7 to 14 days. And then finally, the decision notification is sent, another 7 to 10 days. So I just said a lot of numbers, right? Really annoying to hear, but that's the process. And I hope I've broken that down a little bit better for you guys. Because everybody's like, well, why is this taking so long? Why is it in the system? It's because of the backlog is the number one reason. Again, Jim hit on the quality reviews, the C&P exam schedules, whether they deem it basically adequate enough for the examiner or the rater to go over everything and say, okay, I got what I need to be able to make a decision. So you see, these things take time, and it can be frustrating, folks, but that's just what it is. It's a government bureaucracy, and these things have a process. They have to follow laws and regulations, and it takes a lot of time. So I hope we've kind of been able to address and educate you folks on what a fully developed claim is. And, it's simply that, having all of your documentation in a row, making sure it's submitted the proper way, which your coach under your elite service program will help you do. Make sure you check all those boxes. You're taking care of every step of the way. And really, that's it. You gather your evidence, you submit it properly, you're coached through your C&P exams properly, and then you wait on that decision. Jim, anything else to add before we get into the Q&A, brother?
Yeah, you kind of nailed it on the head there, Coach Andy, is, joining the elite program, right? You're going to get that one-on-one coaching. Okay. We're going to make sure that you have the elements for the fully developed claim, right? And also, too, for some of the veterans who've been out of service for a while, getting you connected for that medical evidence that you might need, right? It's a big point. You mentioned it, too. When you don't submit a fully developed claim, you have the back and forth going on, with the VA sending letters. We all know the mail is slow. It takes a while. It really stalls the process. So definitely sign up for our elite membership program. The link is here. We'd love to have you.
Absolutely. And, and just to recap, before we get started, sorry, I'm big on recaps because I know some folks missed it. But look, for a fully developed claim, you just need a few things, right? You need a medical diagnosis. You can't get, aside from tinnitus, you can't get a claim service connected without being diagnosed with that condition. And even then, you'll be diagnosed with tinnitus in your C&P exam. There's just no test for it, and it's the one-off for the VA claims process. You need a diagnosis of a condition, so get your butts to the doctor. All right, folks. Then you need a nexus, right? Does that necessarily mean you always need a nexus letter? No. Get with your coach for clarification on that. That's kind of a longer, drawn-out conversation. But there are some conditions that could be presumptive. There are some conditions that, like tinnitus, the only one by itself that can be diagnosed in your exam. And there are just a litany of other things that can go on here, but you need a nexus. So a nexus is basically and something that either happened, boom, you could point to it. Yeah, my nexus is I jumped out of an airplane and snapped my fibula on the drop zone. I was there, I was taken to the hospital, got surgery, and was diagnosed with that condition. That's what happened to me when I broke my leg. Well, that was my ankle. My leg was snapped in the Q course. But anyways, so that's the nexus. This happened. It's provable. It's diagnosed. It's in the records. That's the nexus, right? Or your nexus could be, well, you hurt your back or your knees really bad while you're in the military, and boom, you got service connected for it. And now you're having other issues with other parts of your body that's connected to those issues. That's when you would need a nexus letter. So that's just, kind of to touch on that real quick. I know this is the fully developed claim class, but just kind of wanted to hit that. And then, so those two things are needed for a fully developed claim, right? And then the final piece is being able to describe the severity of your symptoms. And you can do that with multiple bits of evidence, whether it's a DBQ for headaches or GERD or another condition, or it's MRI scanning of how bad your back or your knee is. Something that describes in a physician, whether it's from a physician's work or you yourself going into your C&P exam and showing them, hey, look, this is how bad I can't bend my elbow or I can't bend my knee very far. This is how bad it hurts, and it's always like this. I'm never going to be able to do that again. Being able to show the severity of that symptom. The severity of that condition that you're dealing with. So those three things are big time in filing for a fully developed claim. And I hope I've beaten that nail over the head enough to get that to stick a little bit. I know some of my veteran friends are, they need it repeated over and over again, just like myself does. Anything to add there, Jimmy?
Yeah, very good points there. Just a couple things, what you're going to get with the elite program. Okay. Just to recap. So you're going to get a custom strategy with your coach. All right. You're going to get educated on your conditions, and we're going to be able to connect you to our vetted medical network for medical evidence if needed. Okay. You get the one-on-one coaching model, right? And you get access to the team. The strategy sessions, you're going to get claim submission information so you can make sure you're submitting your claim correctly. And you're going to get the C&P preparation. And also, we have the live classes via Zoom 3 times a day, coffee with the coaches. And we also have mental health Mondays, C&P prep, elite member Q&A, just tons and tons of resources for you. If you could, Coach Andy, if you want to touch on Brian's new book, tell them about that.
Brian's new book. Look, You Deserve It, Part 2. He's updated a ton of stuff on You Deserve It. I know I have it right here, the original one. But Part 2 is coming out. Look how thick that book is, folks. This describes basically all the veterans benefits that you get, that you deserve, right? For each state, even. So whether you're at 100% or 10% or 0, that book, it really describes and breaks down all of what, goes on with the updated VA rating statistics, disability rates for pay, high value claims. He's got the new list of the 50 most common VA disability claims, top 6 ways to increase your rating this year. I could go on and on, but get that book. You Deserve It, free.com/freedom1. It's a free e-download. Or if you want to buy the hard copy or soft paperback, whatever, you could find that on Amazon, I believe, coming soon, April 11th. So be on the lookout for that. On April 11th, you can download it, and it should be for sale on Amazon if I'm not mistaken. If I was mistaken, I'm sure somebody would have corrected me by now. So be sure to check out that book. It's completely free to our vets. It's a wonderful source of information. I use it all the time. That's why it's right here in front of my desk. If one of my veterans, I get to make that awesome phone call where, hey, you've just won your claim. Now what state are you in? Let's open that up. And I kind of, get to go over that and celebrate with my veterans. And I hope I get to do that with several of you. So without further ado, and I know this is a big part that everybody's looking forward to, I would like to get into the question and answers. So if any questions that would like to be asked, I'm sure our wonderful production folks will pop that up in a bubble for me here. And Jim and I would love to field your questions.
Absolutely.
All right. Mr. Goodwin submitted 2 claims, completed 1 already. Another scheduled in 2 weeks. Can a decision be made on the completed one before the second one is completed. So if you submitted them separately, yes, I mean, typically yes, one can come back before the other. Now, if you submitted them all at the same time, the VA will typically wait until all those certain individual claims were, decided upon and adjudicated, and then give you a decision once that is done. Hope I got that question answered to your satisfaction there. Jim, you want to get this next one?
Yeah, I can take this one. Tony Gonzalez. If I have medical treatment records for my knees from 1978, do I need to get a current diagnosis to file a claim? My knees are all messed up, hard to get up in the mornings. Yes, Tony. You want to get a current diagnosis, as Brian Reese would say. Get your butt to the doctor, right? Let them know. Tell them your backstory when you go in. Hey, this is how my knees got this way, right? Let them know, what you did in service to contribute to that. But that is a very good question, right? You do want to make sure that you have a current diagnosis when you're putting in a claim.
Correct. And a big thing about that, and a lot of veterans, unfortunately, are affected by this negatively, is look, hey, and me being in the 82nd, I deal with a lot of old paratroopers too that have been referred to me by, friends throughout that organization. But they come to me and they're like, hey, Andy, I jumped out of airplanes for 4 to 20 years, and my knees and my back are shot, but I never went to sick call because it was frowned upon. And when I got out, they didn't tell us, you have a year to go get diagnosed with this condition. So unfortunately for a lot of veterans that weren't ever diagnosed while they were in, and now they've been out for 20, 30 years, and they didn't have a diagnosis of those conditions, within that last 20 years, because they've just toughed it out. And now they're getting into older age and like, wow, man, I'm in pain. And I think it's all the genesis of that pain is jumping out of airplanes or being a grunt or whatever your position in the military was. I'm just using that one as because I have personal experience with it. Unfortunately, for those veterans, there's not a whole lot that can be done, but you've got to get to the doctor. So maybe you can use your MOS as a nexus, right? It's worked. I've seen it work. Now, is it standardized across the board with the VA? Unfortunately not, but it can work. So you're not completely out. You're not out of luck. Get with a coach, get a strategy. You don't pay a single dollar if your claim doesn't win. You may have to get a nexus on, pay up front for the nexus or something like that, but you don't pay VACI a single dollar unless you win your claim. So there's no harm, there's no loss in signing up, getting a coach, and getting that, getting all the information you can, and going after these claims. So just because maybe you didn't get diagnosed in the last 20 something years, brother, doesn't mean that you're out of luck. So get with your coach, get a strategy going, and see what you can do from there.
Absolutely. Coach Andy had a very good point there. I don't know if everybody was listening, but Coach Andy dropped a very good nugget, right? He noted, if anybody here is still on active duty, getting ready to get out, from the day you get out, right, you have 365 days. So if you didn't go to medical while you were in, as soon as you get out, right, go to the doctor, right, get the diagnoses, because you have 365 days from the time that you get out to go get diagnosed, and you will be able to file. So very good nugget that you just shared there, Coach Andy. I wanted to make sure everybody was listening. Also, in the link here, sign up for a free discovery call, right? It's not going to take anything. You can go to, vaclaims.help for a free discovery call, and you'll get to talk to one of the great coaches here. We can get myself or Coach Andy, and we can help you make sure you're going in the right direction.
Absolutely. And you know what? We're going to hit as many questions as we can here in the next 20 something minutes. But if we missed your question, go to vaclaims.help, get on the phone with somebody, then, for 15 minutes and ask all the questions you can. And, so we're going to get as many questions as we can, but yeah, that's definitely get your butts on the phone. What could you do if you had your CMP exam 2 years ago and heard nothing? Ooh, wow. Okay. So, couple things there. You should have gotten a letter in the mail at least, but what you can do is call 1-800-827-1000 and ask about, inquire about the status of that claim. Say, hey, look, I had my CMP exam 2 years ago, never got anything. Maybe your address wasn't updated on va.gov. So maybe go check out and make sure that that is all squared away, because they should have sent you a packet with a decision. 2 years is a pretty long time. So I would definitely call 1-800-827-1000. There's also the White House hotline that you can get in touch with. I don't have that number memorized right now, as I haven't had to use it much, but you can Google the VA's White House hotline and also give them a call if all else fails with the 827-1000 number. Next question, please.
All right, I'll take this one. What is the typical time frame for fully developed claims? 123 days for fully developed claim. Just like we covered here today, when you do a fully developed claim, it puts everything in front of the rater, right? It makes their life easy, and they don't have to reach out, and it does help your claim move faster through the system. Very good question.
Anxiety. Ooh, lots of veterans are plagued with anxiety, and I completely get it. My claim was filed on August of 22. I actually started 10 to 12 years ago, and the civilian vet rep told me, "You've been out too long." There is no such thing as being out too long, Robert. No such thing. No such thing at all. So get with your coach, talk about individual conditions that you can still file for with with proper medical evidence or statements or whatever the that claim deems important, right? And then you're fine. I'll tell you what, just a couple of examples. In the last year, I had 2 veterans that got out in the late 1960s, and they came to me with 10% for tinnitus, and now they're at 100% permanent in total. So it's never too late, brother.
All right. Merritt, what if they say they can't find your medical or personnel records, and a VA agency checked them out and they don't happen to have them at this present time? Merritt, this is a great example here, and anybody else in here before, really take advantage of the strategy call, because us coaches, we can help, right? There are ways that you can process a claim without having your medical records in hand, right? Sign up for the free strategy call. We can definitely give you some good information. Now, some people get bad information, and they want to give up or quit. Never give up or quit. Give us a call right here. You can visit www.vaclaims.help for a free discovery call. Please call us. We want to make sure you're heading in the right direction, because there's a lot of misinformation out there.
Lots of misinformation out there. I'll tell you what, man, Google and VA claims, most of the things that pop up are lawyers' websites and ads. So it's it's definitely a strange thing there. What does citing a claim as hardship do to expedite? How about for an initial claim for a Vietnam vet? So a hardship claim, it does put you to the front of the line. Then again, there's a lot of hardship claims, so it's not going to be an overnight process. If you're at the risk of being homeless, or if you have a terminal illness, or are going through a exceptional, situation, then the hardship claims do expedite a little bit. Now, an initial claim for a Vietnam veteran is just like every other veteran. There's no certain specialties given to which era that you're in. Now, again, if you're going under a hardship claim, then it will expedite a little bit. But again, expect those lines to be pretty long as well, unfortunately, with the VA. I do see a little bit, Dr. Leroy Henry in the comments. Tinnitus is the ringing in your ears, specifically caused by typically either trauma to the head or loud noise exposure. It's the constant ringing in your ears, whether it's always loud or sometimes, for me, it's a kind of a low hum. Most of the time I'll be sitting there watching a Florida State football game, and all of a sudden, ding, it just kind of goes up. Or I'll just be reading a book, ding, it kind of goes up again. So mine, the extreme ringing comes and goes for me, but there's always kind of a low hum in the background. And that's what tinnitus is.
Very good description there.
You Deserve It is the name of the book. Sorry.
Yeah, you deserve it. Absolutely. And then to touch on tinnitus, right? A lot of people, when you come here and you get a strategy session with the coach, there are a lot of conditions that can be secondary to that condition of tinnitus.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, more reasons to call for discovery call. It is a very debilitating condition. Me and Coach Andy both have it. And like you said, there's things that can be secondary to it. And to find out about secondary conditions, once again, you can visit us at www.vaclaims.help for a free discovery call.
All right, more questions here. What is citing a claim as hardship due to? Oh, we already answered that one. Already got to that one. How do you go about documentation for it? All right, Joseph. So for tinnitus, it's a relatively easy one. I would say definitely get with your coach for that. For documenting tinnitus, there is no test for it. So basically, get with your coach, get with them, talk about how to document your tinnitus, how to submit that claim, and you'll get squared away. It's relatively simple, but it's person by person basis. You got to talk about kind of what you're exposed to and all that good stuff, and see if there's anything conflicting there in your records. So sign up, get with a coach, and talk about the tinnitus claim. It's relatively easy to get through. I just can't do a personal thing with you right now because we're obviously in a room with several people. So,
all right, John and Jessica, are those time frames we mentioned for each step publicly available?
Yes. If one of our wonderful production team would put in the chat the link to our blog page, what is the VA's fully developed timeline that is on our public website there. So if they could put that in the group chat, that would be wonderful. What is the VA fully developed claim timeline in 2023? There we go.
There we go.
And in that blog, you can use the search function and just type in fully developed claim. All right, so there's a lot of specific questions in here. We can't really get into each of your personal cases. More general questions, as we are on a Facebook Live, and we don't want to, spend too much time, because if I dive into one person's claim, I could be here for 15 minutes talking nonstop. But so the more general, I'll kind of answer. Somebody asked about sleep apnea and tinnitus. Typically, those are not connected at all. Sleep apnea is a condition that obstructs your airways, right? And tinnitus isn't going to obstruct your airways. So there is some misinformation online about that stuff. I think it's, stuff's been floated around, whereas the VA maybe had accepted it once. It's broadly being denied. Couldn't tell you why that one rater decided, that makes sense to me. But and you would think there's a precedent set there, but things can change all the time within medical case law and all that kind of stuff. So no, I would not. I would never look a veteran in the eye and say that we can hang our hat on sleep apnea secondary to tinnitus. That's just not going to work in my experience.
No, very, very good point there, Coach Andy. And for everyone in here, one thing that you get when you come to VA Claims Insider is you're going to get a coach, right? And that's what we do. Me and Coach Andy all day long is we know the methods and the processes for the best connections, right? And the ones that are, we have the data and the analytics, right, to show you which ones work and which ones, probably won't work as well. So if you need help with your claim, you can get started today for free, right, at vaclaimsinsider.com.
Absolutely. And, I see a lot of very specific questions in here. I don't really want to dive into those because, again, it would take me a while. So I'm sorry if you feel like you're being ignored. You're not. There's not enough time in the day here. What is our success rate with the elite program? I'll tell you what, I don't have the statistics up right now, but I take a lot of pride in my success rate. I've helped so many veterans, and this is not to toot my own horn. I really love working with vets. Lots of wins, lots and lots of wins, way more than losses. And even with those losses, we can appeal, we can higher level review, we can get new medical evidence, we can get rebuttal letters. So, the success rate is extremely high. I just do not know the stats for VACI off the top of my head.
And once again, for a lot of questions that you didn't get answered, you can get the free discovery call, right? And the link was just posted up there. So feel free to connect to that link, and you get a one-on-one with a
Absolutely.
coach like Andy or myself.
Mr. Boswell, so you said, um, getting started for free is great, but what's the overall cost? Well, it all depends on you, and how far we're able to get you to. So say you start off at 0 and we get you to 10%, or from 10% to 30%, it's just 6 times that increase. And that money doesn't even come out of your pocket. That's coming straight from the VA for 6 months. And then it's yours. It's yours forever. So, it's really just money coming out of the VA, not you. And I think that's just a great model. Lots of veterans that are struggling financially right now, and they can't necessarily take money out of their budgets. But when you do win and we send you an invoice, that money doesn't come out of your budget. It comes from the VA. So whatever the VA sends you, just 6 times that increase, and that's it. And then it's yours forever.
Yeah, I am seeing a lot of questions in the chat that are really like strategy session specific. So
Right.
some of them, like, we really can't get into a full-blown strategy session.
You can absolutely have PTSD if you've never deployed. So the VA, I don't know. I would hate this. I would love to see their exact wording. But I would hope they never said, "Oh, you didn't deploy, so you can't have PTSD." What you need for a PTSD claim is a stressor event, a verifiable stressor event. That can be non-combat PTSD, such as physical or sexual assault. A non-combat PTSD, such as maybe you were at a training accident and something bad happened. Somebody got hurt or maimed. That happens. It unfortunately happens a few times a year on firing ranges and debt ranges and stuff like that. So there are traumatic events that happen CONUS and stateside and not out of deployment. So if you're able to verify those events with names, places, times, police reports, stuff like that. Maybe you were a firefighter in the Air Force and there was a fire in a hangar and somebody got hurt or somebody got killed or on post and base housing, and you were a military policeman, and you can verify via police blotter or a blog or a news article that you were involved in a really bad, poor situation that was traumatic. So yes, you could absolutely have PTSD without ever being deployed. It's just got to be a verifiable event. You have to verify. The VA has to be able to verify it, or just everybody that because I know most 99% of military members have integrity. But there's always the exception to the rule. So the VA has to have those safeguards in place. Well, if we didn't have these rules, that everybody could just say, oh, something happened and, give me money. So that's, unfortunately, it sounds like you had if somebody actually said that to you, and I hope to goodness they didn't, and maybe you just mixed up their wording, but man, you could absolutely have a PTSD claim without ever being deployed.
All right, John, DAV submitted several claims at one time for me. Incomplete. Can we still help? Absolutely. You need to reach out for a free strategy call, right? There are some things that we can help with as well. We can give you the insider information. So just schedule a strategy call. There are things that you can do when a claim is submitted. If you want to withdraw it, there's a process for that as well. Here's the link right there, www.va-claims-help for a free discovery call.
Absolutely. And I did see you. I can't see it anymore, but I saw it in the comments not too long ago where it said the sleep apnea to tinnitus came from us. We are aware that there was a blog with possibly a video. I've actually been trying to hunt it down. I can't seem to find it, but I want that, we're working on editing that for context and for accuracy because, like I said, there have been cases where the VA has accepted a nexus from tinnitus to sleep apnea. However, that is no more. That is the way of the buffalo, right? So, that is gone. There are two completely unrelated diagnoses.
Okay, Harold has a question. The VA has asked that I set up direct deposit. Is that a good sign that a decision is forthcoming? Well, hopefully it is a good decision, but they will reach out if you don't have direct deposit set out. That doesn't mean that you're going to get a win. They just want that in place, right? Because they can only send you so many hard checks, and you're going to be required to go to direct deposit. So it doesn't mean that they reached out that you're going to get a win. It just means they want to have that on file. So when you do get a win, they can get you your money very, very quickly. And a lot of my veterans, they'll give me a call and they'll notice money in their account because that usually comes first. And then the decision follows. So it's another way for you to know if you got a decision in. If you're ever at the bank and you see a large lump sum in, wondering where it came from, go home and check your claim.
Good question. Good question. Does an approved claim affect your pension? So if you're 20 years and you're retired, right, and you also get VA compensation, as long as your VA compensation is above Jim 50%, correct?
50%.
You get the entirety of both. If it's below 50%, then they do. I don't know their exact equation, but you do get they do take a percentage out. So you're still going to get that same. But if you're above 50%, then you're good to go.
All right. All right.
Everybody loves sleep apnea. You want to take this one? I can take this one.
Yeah, sleep apnea is secondary under which conditions? So once again, sign up for the free discovery call here, and we can answer that question for you, right? In a one-on-one session.
I can kind of generalize it because it would be specific to him individually, but in general, the best way to get service connected for sleep apnea is to get sleep apnea or to get a sleep study while you're active duty and get diagnosed with it. Other than that, there is no surefire 100% way to get secondary sleep apnea claims. Having said that, respiratory conditions that are service connected can be the cause or can be a nexus. Now there's a bunch of respiratory conditions, so I'm not going to go down the list, but if you have a service connected respiratory condition and sleep apnea, talk with your coach and see if that's a good nexus.
We'll be waiting for that call because we love information like that, right? So, all right. Existing examination in 92, 0% for hip x-ray showed problem with L5. Also, they said born with it, nothing on file for a claim. Is this failure duty to assist and presumption of soundness? So each case is going to be specific and unique, right? One thing that I see in here that stuck out to me, and I don't have all the details, but if they rated you at 0% for the condition, they're owning it, right? They're just saying it's not, you haven't had enough visits in to make it compensatable. So a 0, as Coach Andy would tell you, is a win because they're taking responsibility. And in some of those cases, all you have to do is get your butt to the doctor, start getting treated for that condition, and then file for increase.
Yeah. So for a hip, and I'm right there with you, brother. I got a little hip flexor going on, but I'm at 0 for it. I'm at 0 for sleep apnea as well. I had a sleep study done while I was in. I have a 0 for my headaches, and I have 0 for these and for these specific conditions because they aren't severe enough to warrant a higher rating. You've got to be able to show the severity, the duration, and the frequency of your condition. So if your hip, and I'm not I'm not saying that your injury isn't severe, but when they examined your hip in 1992 rather, you must have been very flexible without pain. You must have showed them something, and I could be wrong, but in that physician's opinion, it didn't reach the threshold for a higher rating for your hip, and that does happen. Like for me, I guess I apneaed twice in 1 hour, and then the rest of my sleep was fine, even though I could only sleep for like 4 hours. It was so uncomfortable with all the nodes on me and everything. But so you've got to be able to show this the severity, duration, and frequency of your conditions. So getting more medical evidence, going to the doctor saying, hey, look, my hip is really bad now. I have lack of mobility, strength, whatever your symptoms are, going and showing that to that physician, and then you'll be able to file for an increase there.
Very, very good point, Coach Andy. Also, when you sign up for the Elite program, we have CMP prep classes, right?
Oh, yeah.
Medical prep, where we cover those things that they'll be looking for, right? And you get that with the Elite membership. Mm-hmm. So the link is in there. It's in the post. Sign up today because we cover those things, right? So you had a very good point. Hey, Maybe
Right.
during the CMP exam, hey, they didn't notice enough severity to rate it.
Right. And I did see I saw a question about obesity. It's going back to our Mr. Francois, who asked about the sleep apnea earlier. The VA does not recognize obesity as a service-connected condition. Anytime that we have that I've seen denial letters come back because somebody got a nexus. Maybe they hurt their back in service. That back is service connected. Their back prevented them from exercising and maybe losing weight. Now, granted, but the VA's reply to all of those that I've read is that your obesity is due to caloric intake. Which is basically a nice way for the VA to say, well, your diet isn't healthy enough, and that's why you're gaining weight. So there's lots of medical science to back that. That's saying, well, folks with injuries can still burn calories and watch their intake. So they are not accepting obesity as a service-connected condition, and those have been denied in the last few years. The cost of our service, so again, you sign up with us for free. You don't pay anything. Once you win, if you win with our help, with our coaching, with our, with the Nexus letters that we were able to provide to you from our third-party organization, if you win with our help, then basically it's 6 times the increase. So you can either do that 6 month. Okay, so I got, what would be the cost of my increase for 6 months? You pay that. If you pay a lump sum, you get 10% off. You could break it up over 6 months. You could break it up over a year. Our finance department is great. They'll look into payment plans with folks, and none of it comes out of your budget. None of it. We don't take your back pay. We don't take anything out of your budget. It's what the VA sends you, and that is it. And that's just for 6 months or for a year, and that's half of what the VA sends you for a year. So there's very progressive payment plans. It is outstanding. This thing it doesn't even come out of your pocket, right? It's the VA sending you money and then to us. And that's just for a few months. So I think it's a hell of a deal. And it's just, look, so many of our coaches were clients and now they're at 100%. So, you never know. It's just one of you might be a coach one day sitting here working with us and explaining everything too. Hope that helps.
Very, very good point. It's money you don't have. Come join us. Let us help you get it. You serve, you deserve. Right.
Now, Jim, we do have about 3 minutes, so I think enough time to field 1 or 2 more questions. So if our wonderful production folks would pop a couple more up there, we can answer some questions, and then we'll let you guys go on with the rest of your day. So, Kim, if you have a coach, then you're an elite member. If you don't have a coach, then that means you're a mastery member, which means so there's also mastery, which you could pay. I think it's a flat fee of $9.99 or $900, and then you get all the education materials and access to Telemedica, but you do everything else on your own. You don't have a coach. You don't have your coach's assistant, anything like that. It's just that stuff. So that would be a mastery. If you're elite, you get everything. And you have a coach assigned to you, and you should have been already contacted in your email several times if you haven't gotten on the phone with your coach yet.
All right. At 90%, been fighting for some claim increases, but how can I get to 100%? Definitely take advantage of the free discovery call and talk to us. A lot of people get stuck at 90%, right? When they do it on their own. The link is right there. Going from 90% to 100, it's a big jump because VA math, 90% of your body is considered gone, right? So it's going to take more to move the needle. We can help with that. Call in and sign up for a free discovery call today.
Right. And, just to look, we are very, very, very into all of this stuff. We are very good at what we do, but there are some veterans that will just never hit 100%. Not everybody's 100% disabled. So, and thank goodness for that. I don't want, I don't want my veterans to all, walk around in pain all day and, all that stuff. I'm thankful for my veterans that got out and are healthy. But having said that, not everyone is going to get 100%. Now, our job is to fight and get you as close to there as possible. We want you to get the benefits you deserve. But, there is a level of patience, and there's case law, there's science, and all this other stuff involved. So, come into this with an open mind, be ready to work, get with that coach, and let's get after it. Let's get you to 100. Let's get you across the goal line because, just because not everybody can doesn't mean you can't. And you staring at me right now, let's get you there. All right. Thank you so much for spending your afternoon with us. Jim, you're wonderful teaching with you. I love you, brother. And I look forward to hopefully speaking to some of you and seeing you in future live classes.
Absolutely. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. It's great. Looking forward to seeing you. Come sign up.
All right, guys. Have a good one.
Have a great day.